packages that we'll have available for everybody.
Sean, I think I speak for the entire community when I say we couldn't be more excited, and we have no idea what you're talking about.
I was going to say, what the hell are you talking about?
Oh, you didn't know? So Billy McFarland, the guy.
No. Save this.
If it's Billy Madison,
save this. We got way too much to get to. Save it for the appropriate moment, if you wouldn't mind. 11 o'clock, the president greets the crown prince and prime minister of Bahrain. 11:15, bilateral meeting with the same gentleman. Pool press, so that could just be a roving press conference. Lunch, closed press with the same gentleman. 11:45, kind of more of a brunch, really. 3 o'clock, he participates in a bill signing ceremony, which is open to the media in the East Room. Anybody know what that is? Anybody know what he's signing? I don't know.
No.
Okay, and then he's having dinner with the Prime Minister of Qatar.
Well, wait, wouldn't he be?
But not a state.
Shoot.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was going to say, what did
I don't know. They passed something lately that we missed. I don't know. JD Vance is in Western Pennsylvania, West Pittston. Not familiar with West Pittston. Maybe I'm embarrassed. I should be embarrassed to say that, but and he's delivering remarks there, telling the reconciliation law. Sean Duffy, future president of the United States, current transportation secretary, is testifying before House Transportation and Infrastructure. Lots going on the Hill, conference meetings and caucus meetings right now. Foreign Relations is approving some ambassadors, including Kimberly Guilfoyle, Maxine Waters, Steve Lynch, others, holding a press conference on crypto. The Democrats in the House continue to be divided on whether they like this bill or not. Senate starts its vote-a-rama on the rescission package. Mike Johnson's participating in some event that the Hill and News Nation's doing that I don't really understand. The softball game is tonight. Mayoral
women's softball game.
Women's softball game, yeah. Well, you don't need to say if it was men's.
Well, there's the congressional softball game, and then there's the
congressional baseball game.
That's the same sexist, Dan. You call the men's game
just the game,
and the women's game's the women's game. I just called it the game.
Yeah, exactly. We're champions.
Mr. Mamdani is having breakfast right now with AOC at the National Democratic Club. He's also supposed to meet with Bernie Sanders. I think then he's coming right back to New York because he's got another business meeting with tech leaders in New York. Governor Bashear has got 3 or 4 stops in South Carolina. And the producer price index came out a little while ago, and it was basically unchanged, which was in line with expectations. All right.
By the way, Hakeem Jeffries is not meeting with him in D.C. Is meeting with them at his house on Friday morning back in New York.
Yeah. In my house.
That a little bit.
In my house. We'll get to all this and more, as they say. Sean, sorry to interrupt. Go back and explain.
Oh, no. So just for Billy McFarland, who conjured up that scheme, Fire Festival, owes $26 million. So he decided to put the name Fire Festival up on eBay. And last night it sold for $245,000. So you own the name.
Oh, so you didn't really buy it.
No, I spent my $245,000 in other ways.
I thought you said $245, so I thought that was what was going on.
I might actually buy it for $245.
Yeah. All right, Epstein, incredible set of developments overnight, and we're always trying to be forward looking. So I'll summarize what happened, but then we're going to try to figure out where we're headed. I look at the events, mostly people pouring hot water on this thing, not cold water.
Hey, Mark, can we go to Fox real quick? The members are coming out of this meeting. I thought it was just AOC, but there are members speaking outside the club.
Yeah, let's go to Fox. Good call.
Switch from Epstein to
I'm sorry. Hold on. This is yesterday. That's not live.
Nice try, Sean.
It says Dems leave meeting with Socialist Mamdani.
Yeah, but that's not live. If they come out live, we'll take it.
Okay.
You can keep it up even. Anyway, I'll just run through some stuff. Alan Dershowitz has an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal saying nothing to see here. There's no list, there's no tapes, there's no blackmail, there's no names on the list of anyone currently in elective office, which would include Donald Trump, and that he's seen it all and he's not at liberty to be specific. But he just read the thing. If you believe there's a there, read the thing. And if you believe Alan, there's no there. So that's pouring cold water. Here's the hot. Wired says that there's a 3-minute gap on the tape, of the prison tape. Now, I'm asking everybody I see now, just like in casual conversation on the bus, at the dry cleaner, hey, could you kill someone in 3 minutes? And most people think they could. So there's a data point for you there. That's
like name that tune. I can do it in 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
So Dershowitz is cold water. This is the hot water. There's that. Fox is back to talking about it. Charlie Kirk took a 1-day sabbatical. And then he talked about it on the show yesterday again. And then he put out this tweet with a long list of things that that he recommends they do. It's a great list. I mean, this is a communications crisis management expert's dream. Charlie went through, after consulting people, I'm sure, all the things that he'd recommend his friends of the administration do. That's pouring hot water on it. Of course, the Speaker of the House, originally in an interview with Benny Johnson, poured hot water on it. Then he did a tweet. We'll put it up. I won't read it. He tweeted and poured some cold water and basically said, we're not going to take advice from Democrats about how to be disclosing. So the Speaker poured both hot and cold. But I believe the hottest water of all, and I'm amazed at how little coverage this got. Amazed. The President of the United States compared his supporters who were interested in this topic. He called them bad. He basically called them bad people who are like the Democrats and the crooked media. What does he call it? What does he call the media? Not crooked. He calls them fake news. This is the president yesterday, and this has gotten almost no coverage. Roll the president.
You've urged people to move on, but I'm curious, why do you think your supporters in particular have been so interested in the Epstein story?
I don't understand
about how it's been handled.
I don't understand it. Why they would be so interested. He's dead for a long time. He was never a big factor in terms of life. I don't understand what the interest or what the fascination is. I really don't. And the credible information's been given. Don't forget, we went through years of the Mueller witch hunt and all of the different things, the Steele dossier, which was all fake. All that information was fake. But I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff. It's sordid, but it's boring. And I don't understand why it keeps going. I think, well, really only pretty bad people, including fake news, want to keep something like that going. But credible information, let them give it. Anything that's credible, I would say, let them have it.
Sean, if you were the president's press secretary and he said, I'm going to go out and I'm going to say anyone interested in this story is a bad person, would you stop him from doing that? Would you say, yeah, that's good?
No, well, I mean, I would not. You don't stop Donald Trump. You remind him that, this is why they care about it. Here are the people that do. I mean,
okay, so
it's not that. And just to be clear, you and I have talked. We've all talked about this, but it's not like he doesn't know this. I mean, he's trying to redirect.
Right. So we all agree that it is not an orthodox strategy to call you tens of millions of your supporters bad people. We all agree with that. And we all agree that Donald Trump often succeeds with the unorthodox. So one thing I really don't like is when Democrats and people in the media think they know more about MAGA than Donald Trump does. Okay. So he knows a lot about MAGA, but I've never seen that. And to me, that suggests he really doesn't, despite it saying Pam Bondi should put stuff out. He doesn't want to put stuff out. So his daughter-in-law said put stuff out. Charlie's got a laundry list for him of stuff to put out. Sean, will they be putting stuff out? And if so, when and what?
I think they've got themselves into a bind where they have to put something out. And the question is what? I mean, the problem is, I think if you're, as I said before, if you're in for a dime, you're in for a dollar. So how do you only put out selective pieces? The thing about the Dershowitz comments that he's made, not just in the op-ed, but in the Chris Cuomo interview, is that he said no politician currently in office is on that list. Okay. There are some in the past and some that have died. Now, so if you're Trump, and I listen, you can say what you will. I believe Dershowitz. I believe that, he has seen the list. He knows. He's been and he's also been very consistent over months about what's there and what's not there. That being said, I believe that Trump knows that a lot of friends and supporters and donors are on that list. And that if and it's not, again, we're playing semantics here. I don't think, from everything I know, that there's a list where it's like, here is my Jeffrey Epstein list, but I think there is information about people who were at various places or engaged in various behaviors. Therefore, he knows that, and he doesn't want to go down that rabbit hole. But I think, and including with what Speaker Johnson did yesterday with Benny Johnson, calling the bluff on getting Giselle Maxwell to testify, I think part of this is calling the Democrats' bluff, which I think is smart, because if I were them, I'd say, great, get her to testify. You know what she's going to say? She's going to call out everyone on your team, and here's who was there, and here's who flew on the plane, and here's who was at the island. So I support that. But I think that they've got to figure out, I mean, this to your question, what can they put out that will satisfy folks and then explain the rest? It's a recipe of disclosure and explaining, because to just say, oh, there's sordid pictures in there doesn't pass it. You've got to say, here's what it is, here's why I can't release it. Maybe here's some blurred out stuff to give you a sense of what I'm talking about, but we can't just shovel this out there for a lot of obvious reasons.
Dan, what do you think is going to happen?
They're going to keep getting squeezed. They are defending the status quo and the bureaucracy. It is the first time in 10 years that they own it. We talked about the other day when Charlie Kirk said, I trust the government. I've never heard those words out of a lot of MAGA people in 10 years. And for the first time, the Democratic Party is on a front foot. They're smacking them around with memes. They're going on podcasts. They're having fun. Who cares if Bill Clinton gets embarrassed? The guy's old. He's not going to run. Hillary and Bill aren't going to run. Chelsea's not going to run anytime soon. We ought to be on a front foot. Be for change. Be for disruption. Be for transparency. It's great.
Yeah, I listen. But here's my question: if again, I think the analysis is right, Dan. They feel it, and that's why they're going to have to open the spigot a little to let some of the pressure out. But the problem is that this is where, again, you may be absolutely right on Bill Clinton's political future, but at the end of the day, do you want to be running around as Hakeem Jeffries and answering for that and saying, do you support what he did? Are you okay with it? Are you sure that you will never raise money again? The DNC will never.
Yeah, it would normally not be public, though. Grand jury material is not normally putting it out.
But you know guys,
we got 8 topics to get to, so we're going to go a little faster than this one. Please raise your hand if you'd like to be in the conversation. New York City mayor's race. As we said, Mr. Mondami is in D.C. today. Andrew Cuomo, I believe, again, this is my mea culpa with Dan. Andrew Cuomo, I think, could win this race, and he's the only other person besides Mondami who could win the race. Look at the polling. Here's a Harris poll. Now, people say, well, Harris polled in the primary and they got it way wrong. Polling that primary when you don't know who the electorate's going to be, very difficult. Almost no one got it right. The Harris poll in a head-to-head matchup, in other words, if the other candidates either got out or were effectively limited to a very low vote total, Adams loses to Mondami by 7 points, right? 7 points. And Cuomo beats him by 15. Okay? So, and that's consistent with all the public and private polling since the primary. Cuomo is easily the strongest against Mondami in a one-on-one or in a 4-way or in a 5-way. Now, what else is happening with Cuomo? He's finally getting positive press coverage. New York Times wrote a very positive story about him, and he's finally actually campaigning. He did a long interview, which it just objectively exceptionally good, with New York One, the all news 24-hour local news channel. It's like a 26-minute interview. I watched the whole thing. It was like, where was that guy during the primary? Here's Andrew Cuomo talking about rent and housing. 109, please.
And you've said his proposals, in your opinion, are just not realistic. What would you do? How do you make this available to the next generation?
Oh, the problem is, I agree with him on the problem. And by the way, he didn't figure out the problem. Jimmy McMillan, 2010.
I remember that debate.
The rent is too damn high.
That's enough.
Yes.
Now,
the best line.
Now, Andrew Cuomo is doing the opposite of what he did during the primary, where they hit him. Here's what his schedule is today. Okay, he's doing retail events in Staten Island, Brooklyn, and the Bronx. He's already done an interview with Channel 5. He's doing an interview with Channel 11. He's doing an interview with ABC, and he's doing a ride along with the Daily News ride along with him all day. There he is. It's already from his ABC, Channel 5, Fox 5 interview. Mondami met yesterday with the business leaders, and he was supposed to try to win them over. The Partnership for New York, it's the big business leaders. Here's the head of the partnership, Kathy Wild, talking about how he did with the business community, where he talked a lot about Israel, and he talked a lot about running the city. 122, please.
No, he's clearly totally inexperienced. They raised the issue of, it's a city of 300,000 people. It's a very complicated management experience. What have you done? What's prepared you? he said, well, I'd surround myself with good people and follow the Mike Bloomberg principle of letting them do their job. That was a good answer, but I don't think it was, it made up for the lack of experience. And on policy issues, you know, he's sourcing from sources that they don't believe in terms
Okay.
of the fiscal
right,
realities, the tax impacts, et cetera.
So if Andrew Cuomo is aggressive, raises money, has good campaigning, good events, he still has two problems. He's got to drive up the negatives of Mondami, and he's got to get these other three candidates either out of the race or get their vote total down. So Dan, can Cuomo execute on those other things, or is Mondami going to be mayor?
Oh, he sure can. I remain right now 55%, and it may be going down a little bit. Mondani has a problem, and he knows it. First off, I mentioned keep an eye out for Kathy Wild. There she is. I've said 40%. He is having trouble getting above that number. You know he's got a problem because he's rushing to meet with the business community, and apparently he's going to give a big speech later in the week to try to assuage Jewish New Yorkers that he understands the need to protect them. Why is he doing this? He has got to get that number up into the upper 40s, or obviously over 50%. The problem is, an Adams voter is not likely going to go to him. Swalwell's voter is not likely going to go to him. Cuomo's got room to grow, and he's already at 50%, right? He gets a do-over, and he's a super smart politician right now. So I think right now it's, 52% for Mondani, but he has serious problems. And as a Democrat, I'm elated.
But you make the other 48 Cuomo, right? You don't think anybody else can win, correct?
No, I disagree. I think, look, if Cuomo got out and Swalwell got out and everybody endorsed Adams, I think Sliwa, sorry, it would be a closer race.
But that's not happening.
I agree. That's why I think they could, but it's Cuomo's likely candidate.
Sean, help me with the math, because you've done multi-candidate primaries, or not primaries, but multi-candidate races. Let's say the other three candidates combine for what? What's the floor on what those on the Adams, Sliwa, and the other guy? What's the floor?
The floor on the three of them is 55. It's probably
no. The floor on the three of them, not Cuomo's total, not Mondami. What's the floor on the other three? The floor for their combined vote, is it 15?
Who's the three? Sliwa, Adams,
and then there's a business guy who's
30, like 35 is
the floor is 35.
I think it's 25. It's about 12, 15.
Yeah, that's what I think too. 25. So that leaves 75% of the vote. And I'm no math genius, but that means that if Cuomo gets 40%,
he wins.
He wins.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
So
now, what's the ceiling on the three of them?
The ceiling on the three of them. So let's give. Sliwa easy gets 20. I think. Adams, I think, can pull 15. The other guy gets 2. I mean, the ceiling is probably 40.
Right. So if it's 40, Cuomo can't win.
Correct.
But here's what's missing on the Cuomo plan. What I haven't seen. If Cuomo is smart, we talked about this the other day, he needs to make a public plea, and I think it would work. Meaning to get out there and just say, listen, I'm going to gather the other candidates together, and we have to agree that while we may not agree on almost anything else, we can agree that this direction is wrong for New York City, and come up with a formula. At least, and if you don't get it, and I still think that that's very elusive. But create the impression that then you can go to the other voters. So you could go to let's say that Sliwa's, ceiling is 20 and his floor is 15. That's 5 that you could get by going there and making a reasonable projection, saying, here's my deal to Sliwa folks. You're not going to win. So I want you to think of me as a guy, and therefore, but he's not doing the plan part. That's where the strategy comes.
Cuomo's not doing the plan part?
I don't see him.
Watch the 26-minute interview he did. There's a lot of very specific stuff.
No, but what I'm saying is, if I were him, I'd be calling for a meeting of everybody.
Too early. Too early.
But in September,
let it play out.
Yeah, exactly. But in September, if he's the only one with the polls all showing what they show now, he's the only one who can win. He's got to go to the voters and say, it's binary. Right. You want a Jew-hating socialist mayor? You can vote for that guy. You want somebody else? You can vote for me.
Keep an eye on the Black community at Labor Day.
Yeah, totally.
I get what I'm getting at is he has to set the predicate now. So he has to say, guys, it is July 16th. 45 days from now, we need to agree that whoever
He said that.
I get what he said. He needs to start to manifest this much more publicly and have sort of a, I'm going to invite everyone to this thing, and if you guys care about the city, you'll come.
He's doing 4 interviews today at least, so he'll be saying
Wait.
it. All right. Paul, don't get mad at me. Any way to put a minute countdown clock on the screen? Or that's impossible.
All right, I got to tell you,
A shot clock.
We can do that.
All right, put a minute on the clock because we got to do it 7 more topics.
Is that
each.
just for Sean or for me too? Is that
no? It's the split. It's the split between you.
Listen, this is the quote from Politico this morning about Mondami. This again, I railed at how the media covers up for this guy. This is a direct quote from Politico. Mondami quotes plans to clarify his stance on the use of the phrase "globalize the Intifada." As soon as this week, as if like clarify. You know what I meant?
What he said to the business leaders yesterday is, "I won't use it myself, and I'll tell other people not to use it. Not going to denounce it.
It's too late. Too late."
Yeah. All right, 1 minute on the clock, or 57 seconds, also known as 1 minute. Guys, I'm just going to introduce the topic briefly. Please, whoever goes first, stop talking at 30 seconds. Here we go. Ukraine. Is the president going to give Ukraine missiles that can hit Moscow? Yes or no, and why? Sean?
No, because he understands what it'll do to escalate that. I yield to the gentleman from New York.
Dan?
Yes, but he's going to say you can't use them right now just to try to get a little leverage on Putin.
Dan's correct. Reset the clock. The economy. There's now more stories saying the economy is actually pretty good. We've all said here it's pretty good. Dan, what's the earliest Trump could look at data and point it and say, yes, the economy is actually thriving. The Trump economy is thriving, because the Wall Street Journal editorial page says he's not brought down prices and he's not raised wages yet.
The fall, as we head into the holiday season, right after the back to school season.
Sean?
9:23 a.m. today.
Really?
Yes. There's plenty.
But wages aren't up, and inflation's still a problem. Why is the buzzer going off with 20 seconds left? This buzzer sucks. Fix the buzzer, please. All right. Fed chair. Reset the clock. Fed chair. I believe that now it's the case that Hassett is more likely than Bessent, but Bessent doesn't think Hassett should get it. And it's possible that a third player will come in now, because the president does, as he said publicly and privately, doesn't want to move Scott out. Sean, who will the Fed chair be?
I still think it's going to end up being Scott Bessent.
Dan?
Agree.
I'm going player to be named later. Here we go. Ooh. Supreme Court. Incredible story in the New York Times ran a little while ago, saying basically what we've been saying here. The justices are very pro-Trump now, and they're not even really explaining it. They're doing these like unsigned orders. Dan, will the president's winning streak at the Supreme Court continue, or they've saved up some rebukes to him?
It will continue.
Sean?
Just remember what they're ruling on. They're not necessarily ruling on the merits. In many cases, they're undermining. They're saying that the lower court didn't have authority to do what they did. So the headline is misleading at best, because it's not. They're not rulings in the sense of
a win is a win.
They're going to keep finding ways to let them win.
Win is a win.
Saying,
the answer is the winning streak continues.
The headline says we don't know why, and the answer is because you go to law school, dummy.
All right. So President Trump is now reset the clock and take it down for a minute, because I want you to show a couple elements. I want you to show Drudge. Oh no, you just have C-SPAN.
Yeah, Drudge
115. 150. Anyway, C-SPAN and Drudge. You don't usually group them, but C-SPAN and Drudge both are saying that the president has mysterious bruises on his hands and he's got swollen ankles. And then yesterday in his event in Pittsburgh, he said like the Unabomber was taught by his uncle. He said he forgot the names of aides, made unsubstantiated claims about how much was being invested. And liberals are saying it raises concerns about his age and his mental acuity, since he's the oldest person ever to hold the office. So, Dan, should the media be more aggressively investigating these issues, or is this all just a bunch of internet hoo-la-la?
I think just like with Biden, where we kept seeing signs, and after a while you say, look, there's a trend line. You got to keep watching. I mean, the fact that Trump's always flubbed words a little bit, but he's starting to do it more. And look, swollen ankles and stuff and hands, that keep an eye on it.
I think it's from the Diet Coke. Sean, I'm serious. Put that in chat. Put in chat GPT. Swollen ankles, Diet Coke. Sean.
Yeah, well, I actually, I think we've spent more time on this than we ever should. The idea that after 4 years of Joe Biden, someone finds a flubbed word or a misleading statement and suddenly says we got to pay attention. Pass.
Well, we
He's
paid
old.
attention. We paid attention.
He is old.
We paid attention on Biden.
Fair enough, but I'm saying
he's old.
just because the dominant media didn't pay attention to Biden doesn't mean we shouldn't be concerned about the
No,
size
no,
of the
no.
president's
Look,
ankles.
and look at this guy's schedule. Look at what he's doing. I mean, if anything, I would argue that he might be tired. But I mean, I'm not kidding.
On his schedule is not that intense a lot of these days.
He barely travels.
Yeah,
Sean, John, you're not
11 a.m.
You're not concerned about bruises on his hand and swollen ankles. You're not
He's
concerned.
playing golf every weekend. Like, I mean, seriously.
No, I think bruises on your hand at 79 years old. And I mean, to me, this is, again, without evidence. I love how the media loves
that. Not without evidence. That is evidence.
What do you mean? Wait. Somebody I get bruises on my hand or just between yard work and taking out the trash. I mean,
yeah, I'm sure he's taking trash out.
I get it.
All right. Because
looking for, he did have, I will say this, the more I think about it, there were 4 hairs out of place. I don't know how that kind of stuff.
Sean, you sound like a Biden advisor spinning that the president's fine. Just take it in. Let's.
I'm taking it in. Saying
Finn's concern. We're showing you his ankles are the size of an elephant, and the bruises on his hand are frightening. I'm being a little over the top, but I just think we shouldn't say because Biden wasn't scrutinized, Trump shouldn't be scrutinized.
No, and I'm saying I have no problem scrutinizing somebody, but I'm saying that a one-off bruise or whatever to suddenly
it's not a one-off. It's been happening for weeks, and the ankles look big. I have no idea if there's anything here. All I'm saying is
the tariffs are going to go on, and other sanctions go on.
A lot of makeup on there. See all the makeup on there? What's that covering up, Sean? I've not seen that so much body makeup since L.A. Confidential. Who was that in L.A. Confidential? Who was the actress in L.A. Confidential?
Kevin Spacey, right?
No, who's the actress?
Kim Basinger.
Kim Basinger. I haven't seen that much body makeup since Kim Basinger in L.A. Confidential.
I guess my point is, if this is a bruise on a hand, okay, I get it, but like I'm not a medical expert.
Well, you're not, but someone should go into the briefing and say in a dignified way to Caroline, why is the president wearing makeup on his hands, seemingly covering bruises?
And he wants to cover it up.
Why? What had the president get bruises on his hand?
Fair enough. Fine. I think if you want to ask the question, I have no problem with it. Yeah. But I think the speculation, I think that, look, I have no problem with the press asking questions. If they want to ask, hey, we saw him on the hand, can you just say what happened? Fine.
Yeah. Okay. That's it. We have a cord.
Rather speculate than ask the question.
Well, I'm
no one ever speculated about Joe Biden.
I'm saying ask the question.
They wouldn't take because they shot the question down. At least ask Caroline and say she wouldn't.
I'm trying to fix America. I'm not trying to whatever. All right. We went so fast. We're practically on schedule. Raise your hand, please, if you want to be on the conversation. 2 more topics. Governor Bashear is in South Carolina doing a bunch of events. We'll have full team coverage tomorrow. Dan, if you were on Team Bashear, what headline would you want out of this trip?
Something about how he understands rural America, and something about the similarities of Kentucky to South Carolina, because that's his wheelhouse.
Yeah, Sean.
Bashear does better than Newsom in visit.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll
Keep
see.
It simple.
Michael, our colleague, is going to be rounding up all the coverage. Michael, please bring us every local news morsel.
But by the way, if you just think about the 4 states that may go first, that is his best one potentially. It ought to be.
Yeah, New Hampshire. People in New Hampshire hate Southerners. Hate them. They do. No Southerner, with the exception of Bill Clinton, has ever done well in the New Hampshire primary. All right.
And he didn't win it.
No, he was a strong second. Comeback kid. All right. Lastly,
I was actually at that event in New Hampshire.
Yeah, which one? On primary night?
Bill Clinton primary night win.
Yeah, what were you doing there? In what capacity were you there?
You're really a Democrat, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm really. That's it. You're a Democrat. No, this tells you how much of a conservative I am. I was at American University. And we needed a bus ride to go up there, and my girlfriend had gotten on the Clinton bus, and the only way home to be with her was to be on
I like it. I like it.
It was awesome. He came out early, declared victory while Paul Tsongas sat in his suite.
Yep.
There's another guy who hit a health issue. All right. Lastly, Hunter Biden has done his first interview with Jamie Harrison, former DNC chair, for his new podcast. It's Hunter's first interview since the election. And he's taken the Mike Donlin position that the reason Donald Trump won the election was because the Democrats abandoned Biden. They were disloyal, and had they stuck with him, he would have won. There's no data to suggest Hunter's right. And this position, of course, helps perpetuate the anger that some Democrats have about the delusion, about the Bidens refusing to leave the stage, and about a failure to level with voters. Dan, is there anyone in the Democratic Party who can get the Bidens off the stage, or they just do what they do?
They're just going to keep trying to rewrite history. I mean, it's delusional, and it's sad for Hunter and for the family. I mean, if this is going to end up being one of the opening sentences on their tombstones now, it's sad.
Well, Sean, does this make you sad, Sean?
No, I agree with Hunter. I think if only they'd stuck with Biden longer, they would have been just fine. Look, I think that when you're, we talked about this in all seriousness, when your grift depends on relevance, it's hard. You have a hard time letting go because you can't, suddenly you find out that you're not that great of a painter, and no one wants your paintings for an excessive amount of money.
I know none of us know, but and this is backward looking, the show's supposed to be forward looking, but if he'd stayed on the ticket, what kind of states do you think he would have lost? He would have lost New Hampshire, New Mexico.
Would have been happy.
Yeah, I think he would have lost New Jersey. I think New York might have wobbled a little bit. Like, it would have been maybe under 5 points.
Colorado?
Maybe, but Oregon, perhaps. I think he would have won maybe 5 or 6 states.
And they would have lost every competitive Senate race, right?
And the House majority would probably be somewhere around 30, 40 seats.
All right. Hunter disagrees. Mark, look up.
And he's got great political intelligence.
Mark, I need you to unmute because we need some diagnosis here. Mark is a licensed psychotherapist. Mark, tell everybody where you are. And then diagnose Dan, and then tell us what's on your mind.
How much time we got?
So first of all, good morning, everyone. This is my first time on the morning meeting, although I'm a veteran of 2A Tonight.
Yes, sir, you are. Thanks for coming back.
Welcome.
Good to see you. What's on your mind today?
Last time we spoke, 2A Tonight, I was working for the VA. Since that time, left the VA, starting a new position with DHS in San Antonio. Behind me, you see my new build, Perry Homes, and I am settling in.
Well, welcome.
What was it that made you leave?
I explained this. It was on the 2A Tonight. I explained we have so much limited access in terms of mental health in the VA system due to the bureaucracy that I couldn't deal with it anymore in terms of how I was able to help veterans. I couldn't get them into therapy like consistently. We're talking maybe once every 2 months. That's not going to work. And I've addressed this at the higher chain of command, and it's a staffing issue. And right now we're still in a hiring. They're in a hiring freeze, so they cannot hire or backfill either. Because I still have friends who work in Temple VA in Central Texas. So I've already tried, and I could not change anything in the system. So I ultimately had to leave. So I start my new position the 23rd this month with DHS.
Mark, stand by 1 second. Let's take CNN real quick, please. No, never mind. Take it back. Don't do it. Mark, thank you for sharing all that. Do you have a question you want to ask?
No question, but I do have a comment, and I want to get your response after. I've been following the Epstein case, since it started, but even further back in terms of these prostitution rings. These are historical. If you go back to Boys Town, Nebraska, the Franklin conspiracy, there's a book about it. And this has been going on for a long time. You basically have cohorts who are doing this. And I find it highly implausible that there is not a list due to all the surveillance that Epstein had in his New York penthouse, New Mexico ranch, and his island. There's so much evidence. It's just a matter of Is it suppressed? Is it destroyed? Where is it?
Okay, hold on. Let's let Dan and Sean comment. CNN is reporting that Bobby Kennedy has fired his chief of staff and his deputy chief of staff for policy.
You know what? By the way, that was a long time coming. This has been a big issue in the Maha world. She has been an impediment to other staff wanting to join, and she's been with him a long time. Very trusted by Bobby, but I think there's a lot of forces within the Maha movement who had been advocating for this for a long time, and I know PPO had heard about it as well.
100%. Some people are going to be very happy with this. Dan, comment on what Mark said, please.
And I'll also just add that there was a call held recently about RFK 2028. So it gets very interesting. I think that you are right, Mark, that it is inconceivable that given the surveillance that he had and the business relationships that he had and the amount of money that was being transacted between these, friends of his and him, that while there may not be a spreadsheet that is a, dollar in, dollar out, body in, body out of his properties, I have no doubt that it would not take very long to put that spreadsheet together from various sources. Perhaps it was destroyed, but I would think it would not, bank records, travel records, it would not be that hard.
Sean.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Dan on this, Mark, which is that this sounds like very weaselly to say, but like when we talk about a list, everyone keeps saying the Epstein list. And I trust Dershowitz and others who have been around to say he didn't have a list. But do I think that at some point some FBI person started to catalog this and put it in an Excel spreadsheet or something, or a Google sheet, and say, okay, Bob Smith, he was on the plane. Joe so-and-so, he was at the island. I mean, at some point, that's just anybody would be cataloging that. So I think we're being cute by half when we talk about the list, because I think the people who don't want to release it are saying there's no Epstein list, and that may be technically true. But when we say things like that, that's what gives, it's
the definition of list.
But it's funny because if you ever been deposed, one of the things you're taught as a witness is to say, can you be more specific about that? Do you have anything further? You try to get the prosecutor or the person integrity to get down, because they're going to start wide, and you're trying to get them down to ask me a very specific question so I can say yes or no with the most latitude. And I feel like we're all dancing around to some degree what we kind of know, but everybody wants to be able to have plausible deniability and say, well, technically there's no Epstein list. Is there an FBI list? Maybe there's an FBI list. Maybe it's not an FBI list, but maybe it's a U.S. Marshals. I mean, I don't know, but
you answer the question asked.
Yeah.
Right. Somebody did it.
Mark, thank you. Craig, welcome in. Tell folks who don't know where you are what's on your mind for Sean and Dan.
I'm in the greater Bedminster area of New Jersey.
Nice.
Dan, Mark, and Sean, it's good to be with you. If you need a place to stay, if you're going over to the golf course here, please let me know.
How far are you from the club?
About 20 minutes.
Awesome.
How about the Marriott?
30 minutes, maybe 45. Yeah. There's more. By the way, there's more hotels being built in this area right now. Yeah. Maybe because of that club. I don't know, but
yeah. How far are you from a good apple picking place?
I'm actually very close to one, less than a mile.
Yeah. Which one?
What is the name of the farm stand?
That's all right. Never mind. Oh, there's great apple picking.
It's great pumpkin picking there too. Pumpkin picking. They got a wonderful pumpkin pies, great homemade goods. Wonderful there.
It's a great place. Yeah. Go ahead.
So I'm very glad to be on with you all three today and everyone else online. First, I wanted to say every Friday I'm trying to get in to tell you that the winner of every week is your listeners and your participants in two-way.
Oh, thank you, sir. Very nice. It. Well done.
We're too modest to do that, but we can acknowledge you're correct.
Yes.
I just wrote that one down.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone correct.
Your modesty is admirable. Your modesty, all three of you. Yes. Anyway, so but honestly, this is a great conversation. I make a point of it, tune in every day after I'm done walking the dogs. Time when I am walking the dogs. Anyway, I'm telling about something two things I saw yesterday in two-way.
Yes, sir.
First was Michael Moynihan's discussion with Ken Klippenstein.
Yeah.
Which I thought was very good in the fact that
it was.
Ken hammered home the idea that this 1,000 number that's thrown around, the Epstein number, the 1,000 victims number doesn't seem to be supported by anything. So I think that's something that's worth knowing. Although watching that entire discussion might be hard for those who care very much about the Epstein issue, which I do not personally. I think it's more entertainment, like most else that's out there these days, because politics is entertainment. Is something I learned from Dave Barry many years ago. Anyhow, so the other thing I want to talk about was last night, Mark, you had on the founder of Support Now on last night's evening program.
Yes, sir.
And it was the perfect timing because I've been struggling now with personal problems I've been facing. I have a friend and his girlfriend who live not far. I mean, they live closer to New York City than I do. They've been living homeless for about 6-7 months now. And Support Now is the first thing I've seen that I feel as though I can actually help them more than giving them nickels and dimes here and there when they are struggling for food or for something they need for their own health.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've given as much as I possibly can to them without the ultimate ire from my wife and my family. So I've done what I can. And I'm now asking for everyone else's help. I put the link in the Zoom chat. If you guys see it, please do click on it and give if you're comfortable doing so. But Mark, I want to thank you very much for this entire two-way system, this entire two-way community. Sean, I love seeing you every morning. You remind me of everyone I know from Boston, who I also love very much. And I also want to know why Boston creates such great comics. That's something I would like for you to address one day. And Dan, they keep being Dan forever, please. You're the best, Dan. One question I have for you, Dan, actually, before I run off the screen here. Dan, you mentioned your son's name was Calhoun.
No, my middle name is Calhoun.
Is that a family name?
Yes.
Are you a John C. Calhoun relative?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think so. I think it was after Sir Francis Drake, and Sir Francis Drake had a Calhoun lineage. My father's name was Drake.
Are you Scotch-Irish?
Yes. The Turrentine was Turrentino, and then when they moved up through Northern Europe, they thought it sounded more English. They changed it to Turrentine, just for everyone's history of my family. Yeah.
I was going to ask.
I'm a Clemson University grad, and Calhoun was Thomas Green Clemson's father-in-law. In action, the grounds where Clemson is built is actually Calhoun's plantation.
Oh, interesting.
It's a relatively little known fact, maybe purposely so because of the situation with the association with the bad stuff going on in South Carolina at that time. But it's a great university. If you get any three, you can get there. If anyone online can get your children to apply there, please do. Everything I have in my life is because of that university.
Craig, thank you. Thank you for sharing all that. And again, appreciate your support for Support Now. If you weren't on last night, it's a website very much with the ethos of this community, which is how do you use technology rather than to divide people, which too much of our technology and online stuff does, but rather bring people together. So if you're interested in what Craig's posted, you can go to the link, but go to supportnow.org and take a look. If there's anybody in your life who you're trying to support beyond writing them a check, build a community around whatever need they have, go to supportnow.org, recommended. Craig, again, thank you for your kind words and for being part of Two Way. Appreciate it. Speaking of being part of Two Way, ladies and gentlemen, making his 19th appearance, Chris Taylor. Chris, welcome back. Unmute. Tell folks what's on your mind from Idaho today.
Actually, from the Philippines.
Oh, you're visiting.
Oh, your family, yeah.
Visiting family where they're doing one of their first reactors implementations.
Are they cutting the ribbon today on the reactor? What are they doing?
No, it's been a while since we've seen our grandkids, so we're just here.
Okay.
This is Epstein. So obviously Epstein, coming from a conservative background, voted for Trump. Really not impressed with what he's doing on this, but I have sympathy for him because this is the way I'm thinking about it. There's probably a fringe. I'm hoping there's a fringe of like 2% that there's an illegal activity going on. So minority or minor kids being molested, however you want to look at that. 98% are probably just consensual adults doing activities. So how do you release a list of 100% of these people when only 2% of it have actually done any criminal activity? And then even with that 2%, where are the girls or the guys, who's been molested, where are they testifying? So if there's no there, I don't see how they actually can proceed.
Yeah, it's a great point, Chris. It sounds like Dershowitz, similar to Dershowitz. Dan.
Well, there's allegations of grown men sleeping with 13, 14-year-old girls. I mean, that's not legal. That's not moral. That's awful. I mean, that's
Correct.
disgusting. Several of them were married, so there's infidelity, right?
Yeah, but we don't publish that kind of stuff.
Well, I think where the two places that I believe he crossed the line, is one, underage girls, right?
Correct.
He had a fetish, and some of his friends had a fetish. The second is he had business relationships in which it appears the friends paid Epstein tens of millions of dollars for financial advice that he didn't really provide. And what he gave the friends in return were trips to, Fantasy Island, so to speak, with young girls. That is not acceptable. Like you could, yeah.
As long as as long as there's evidence that it was young girls that were below.
It is.
Legal.
There's been,
but like the majority, or that's what I'm trying to figure out.
What does it matter if it's majority or one? I mean,
yeah. Well,
no. Yes, it does matter because you can't publish a list of say.
Oh no. But you're right. No, you can't publish it. I get your point, but my point I think what Dan's saying.
There's more than one.
Right, but even if there's one, she deserves justice.
Yeah.
But if she's not willing to stand up and say,
no, they have. They have. That's why stuff is sealed. There have been journalists who have documented this. There have been journalists who have seen photos of very powerful men literally engaged in acts with 13-year-old girls.
But okay, I don't know how to justify this, but if those girls were paid off and they're now no longer willing to testify, what do you do? Like,
the justice system,
you can't go to court.
But here my 2 cents on this, and I don't want to put words in Dan's mouth on this. I think this is part of the problem that the court system, and this is what Dershowitz was making the case for, which is that like if they're victim testimony, you can't just release that. They have a right of privacy, but the justice system also should pursue people who've committed crimes to the best of their ability, and that's where, again, to Dan's point, if there is a tape, then hopefully they can get some sort of plea bargain where the guy has to do something. But there is an element here of pursuing justice that needs to get taken into consideration. And what worries me, and I think what concerns a lot of people, is this whole through line of Epstein, which is very powerful people, elites who are basically able to undermine the justice system because of who they know or how much money they have.
Correct. Yeah, and just my wife dabbles in writing, and she basically, like years ago, started a book about this kind of a thing. So it's not that I don't think that it happens. It's just I don't know how legally you pursue some of these things.
No, there's the legal.
Chris, Chris, thank you. Raised a point that's uncomfortable for some to hear, but is a big part of the conversation. And clearly, even in cases of horrific conduct, we still have due process. We still have right to not be tried by the government in the court of public opinion. Need to be tried in court. Chris, thank you. Grateful to you. Say hi to the family for us. Reed, welcome in. Tell folks who don't know where you are and what's on your mind after you unmute and don't crash.
Perfect timing. Just got to where I'm going. Good morning.
Good morning.
Much love to Dan. Love you guys. North Carolina, the Piedmont region, if you're familiar.
Yes, is that out west or is that?
It's central, so Raleigh, state capital.
Yes, sir.
As a young person, I'll just say quickly that the Epstein thing, for anyone who's familiar with Tim Dillon, maybe a niche commentator, we've been talking about this since, I mean, I don't even know how long. So really not that interested. It's terrible. It's horrendous, awful, awful, awful. But there's a bit of fatigue, I think, with people my age. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, putting that to the side, I just wanted to make one comment quickly. I very much like Robbie Suave. He's been on your show, of course, and he's great. But he said something last night. If I hear one more person, and allow me to be hyperbolic, I'm going to lose my mind if I hear one more person say something to the effect of jobs that Americans don't want to do. I work construction every day. I'm just pulled up to one job site, and I'll go to another here very shortly. I work with my hands and manual labor that's brutal. It's 110 degrees on the real field chart, plus the humidity here every day. And I work hard every day. With a crew of great people, but I'm the only native born American on the crew of 15 to 17 guys, depending on the time of year. So I just I've lost all patience for any time I hear someone say something to the effect of jobs Americans don't want to do. That phrase just lights me up. Anyway, thank you.
Reed, thank you. Sean.
I think what he's saying is speaks to so many people who say, yeah, that's because when I brought this up the other day on another discussion, but the thing that we miss so much about the immigration discussion is the dirty secret is we want to pay people less to do things that we want to treat them less for because we don't want to pay the real wage that is and have the real discussion. And so what Reed's saying is absolutely right. There is a fakeness to this immigration discussion that is being had about, well, no one would want to do that job. That's right, because we treat somebody less, we don't give them benefits, we don't pay them a real wage, and then we say, oh, I can't believe no one else would want to do that. No kidding. And it's, to me, I think a totally disingenuous discussion that we want to talk about helping people, but yet we'll basically have an underclass of individuals in America that will do things that, quote, we won't do because we won't pay them, we won't give them benefits and protections. And the Democratic Party that has said that they actually want to speak up for people and support labor and environmental standards basically have no problem with the entire class of people getting brought into this country and exploited so that we don't have to do things that we find, not acceptable.
Dan.
Well, Robbie also is on the group chat. So I wish, or tune in on Thursday, because I'm sure Batya will have something to say about this. She's been, very, very public about this very issue. So watch the group chat on Thursdays at 4. Look, it's hard because I hear what you're saying, but one of the things is, I remember when I lobbied on this stuff, the agriculture community would say picking strawberries in the fields of California, they can't get people to do it. Now they pay minimum wage.
Why?
Democrats have argued, I don't know why they can't.
I mean, just play this out. I'm sure they can't because they know that they can pay someone $10 an hour under the table when they would have to pay somebody 22. That's an actual.
They wouldn't have to pay right now. The federal minimum wage is 7 whatever it is 7.
No. My point is,
I hear you. Look, you hear the hospitality industry talk about, like, Marriott is not paying under the table wages, right? They are paying above board for the cleaning people to come into your room. They have to. They're a public company. So I hear you, Reed, that it is frustrating. But on the other hand, data has not shown that it is true that there are, tens of millions of Americans who would take these jobs. When Democrats have talked about providing a higher minimum wage, providing more benefits, they're blocked routinely.
But again, because they
have been.
Wage would have devastating effects on small. But the point is,
but you can't. What we just said.
I'm a big fan of E-Verify. I mean, bottom line is that we don't want to have the discussion. But the point is that for a lot of these companies, they're not willing to play by the rules. And that you look at a lot of these construction companies, agriculture community, they'll freely admit that they don't use American labor.
Professor, before we dismiss class, please recite your benediction.
Hello, everyone. I'm in Glacier National Park. I'm on tour. Um, so I kind of wanted to talk about the Syria thing. So I wanted to kind of defer. Do you mind, Mark, if I defer and you call on my good friend Daryl? Or am I throwing a whole monkey and then I'll never get called on again?
No, you'll get called on again. We only have a couple minutes, and so
okay. Well, here, you know what? I'll talk about Mandami. Let me talk about Mandami real quick. I think what's going to happen in New York City really depends on the African American vote and what Al Sharpton does. Sharpton's in the past it says, Cuomo should get out and he'll back Adams. And I think that's really what needs to happen for Mandami to lose.
What evidence is there that Adams can beat Mandami or that he's got anywhere near as good a chance as Cuomo? Because all the data suggests he doesn't. He's a ceiling on his support that's much lower than on Cuomo's.
I'm not confident, Mark. I'm not confident in that polling data. If everybody coalesces around Adams, I think Adams can make a good argument against Mandami. And Adams' administration started out bad, but he started to kind of rectify it a little bit. So that's the way I see it.
Just look at his job approval. I mean, you think every poll
no, I understand.
Listen,
it's a tough sell, but do you think Cuomo's going to? I don't think Adams is going to get out, and that's the problem. If Cuomo and Adams both stay in, I think Mandami's got a shot at winning.
Yeah, but it's not about getting out, although that could happen. It's about, as we talked about at the top of the show, it's about driving down the vote totals of the other three. And Adams seems to have a very low ceiling right now.
I think the issue is you got to be sensitive to the fact that Adams is the incumbent. He is sitting there. There are a lot of levers to pull in the state of New York to punish people if you're too naughty. So yes, Al Sharpton is for Adams. The Black community is for Adams. They're for Adams until they're not. Yeah, and I think the Black community has so far not cared for Mandani. They've been skeptical of some of his promises. He did not do well with them in Brooklyn and in the Bronx and in Queens, nor did he do well with the Latino community. I think if you're Cuomo, you're patient. You're not going to publicly drive Adams out. In fact, I think you kind of rise above it a little bit. But you let your allies go to Adams in September and say, we let you have a month and a half. We let you try. You're not moving. Andrew's the one. And if there's anyone who knows how to reward people for loyalty, it's Andrew Cuomo. Cuts both ways. But that's what I would keep an eye on.
Professor, thank you. Enjoy the trip. I'm sorry about that. I apologize. We're out of time. Sean, what do you have tonight?
A continuation of this conversation. John Catsimatidis, the grocery store owner extraordinaire, mayor of, or former candidate for mayor in New York, join us to talk about this effort to get people to coalesce around somebody else and the threat that Mandami poses. And then Tom Fitton of Judicial Watch is going to talk to us about the FOIA lawsuits that they have filed on the Epstein case.
He just hosted Adams in the Hamptons.
Yeah. And you can show him the new Cuomo ad, which just came across my Twitter feed. I know it's an ad or a web video, but he pretends to be a AAA truck driver. So take a look. All right. Not two, not three, but 4 two-ways left to go today. Here they go. 10 o'clock, Michael Moynihan, 10 o'clock Eastern time with Ben Smith, one of the best media analysts in the world. I know hyperbole, and also co-founder and editor-in-chief of Semaphore, joins Michael at 10 Eastern, and that will unfurl tonight at 7. But if you want to watch it live and participate, please join Michael on the Moynihan Report at 10 Eastern time. Noon, Mary Catherine Ham joins Meghan McCain on Citizen McCain. That's at noon Eastern. 6 p.m. tonight, I'll be here with Two-Way tonight, and my guest will be Ethan Strauss, our Two-Way colleague, really one of the smartest and most interesting people I've ever met. So join me at 6. We'll have all the day's news, including, yes, the latest on the Epstein case, but also everything else. And then right after that at 7, Bridget Fedesi. Conversation today is about money. Welcome back to Real America with Bridget. Talk about cash money at 7 Eastern. So 4 two-ways remaining. And then you will not be surprised to hear that the three of us will be back in 23 hours, because if it's 9 a.m. Eastern time, Dan, what do you got, buddy?
It's the morning meeting. Shout, my mother is watching. I'm in trouble. My dad's mother was Elizabeth Calhoun McNerney. Her mother was Grace Calhoun, families out of Kansas and Missouri. Sorry, Mom, for screwing up the family tree.
I wish your mom would come on live to do that, but it's good that you know, Dan. It's good that you know.
Yes.
And
come on and yell at me.
And in 3 minutes, I'll be on Sirius XM with Michael Sporkanish. So goodbye. See you there.